Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Michael, correct?
Yes, correct.
Right on.
So, seems like 2026 is already a really big year for you. Your new group, The Fell, which obviously you were a part of, debuting. So, how did that all shape out to be?
Well, a long time ago, almost 10 years, Mike Krompass got in touch with me. I didn't know him at all. I knew about his band, of course, and on Facebook. And I respond to all my messages and posts on Facebook. It's a Herculean task,
I can only imagine.
but but I do. People are kind enough to get in touch and stuff, and found so many old friends and just met incredible people all around the world. So out of nowhere, he contacted me and said, "Hey, I got these songs. You want to come and play bass?" And I lived in LA at the time, and his studio was not too far from my house. So I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll come over." So I grabbed my bass. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. He had his assistant there, and some wonderful people. And he goes, "Yeah, I got these songs. I need bass. So you wanna lay it down?" I go, "Yeah." Pop them up and hit play, and we started figuring them out. And I do a lot of tracks for clients around the world. Really, since the pandemic started, we did over 600 songs
Wow.
out of my little studio here. And so prior to that, I did it at my home in LA. So I'm laying these songs down again. And think, man, these are pretty good. These are pretty amazing songs. Who's that singer? And he goes, "It's Toby Rand. He's Australian." I go, "Wow, it's amazing." So we got done, and normally I would get paid for my work as a sideman. That's what we're referred to when you plan someone's record. And he goes, "Yeah, I can pay if you want, or if you're interested, maybe you want to play these songs and get together and do a band thing." And I said, "I love it. It's fantastic. I think I'd love to." So we started working on more songs. I got a bunch of things done. We got about 6 or 8 things done. And unfortunately, there's a warning to musicians when you sign a contract with anything having to do with television. Be really careful because they want everything and they want to own you for the rest of your life.
Right.
So Toby had done some TV, some really great stuff, and his reputation was spreading far and wide, very great. But he had a contract to deal with at that time, so he couldn't perform. So we said, okay. So in the meantime, I moved to Nashville. Then moved to Nashville. We worked on things a little bit more, and then he ended up moving back to his home city of Toronto. So we stayed in touch. And then, sure enough, the contract eventually ran out, and Toby got in touch and was still, "Let's go on these songs," because that whole time, almost 10 years, I have him on my phone, and we be talking to other musicians and fans and hanging out and stuff like that. I go, "Wait, man, let me play you something," and I play it and say, "Wow, what is that?" He goes, "That's this band that I had with Mike and Toby," and so people loved the songs. So the band was kind of put together more because the songs were really happening,
Right.
rather than who we were or what we could do,
Oh, that's awesome.
which I kind of like because most bands I've got together, "Hey, it's a great guitar player. Hey, it's a great drummer. Come on, let's go," But this was built on these songs, and yesterday I was finishing off bass on one of the new ones. My engineer was here, and he had his head down just listening, and goes, "Man, this stuff is this stuff is really great." So I don't mean to be kind of self-aggrandizing because
No,
it's
not at all.
part of it, but everyone around the great promoter we know down in South America. I was out on a night off with him, having a couple of glasses of wine in Argentina, and I said, we started talking about bands. And years ago, and I played this for him, and he keeps writing to me every couple of weeks. "Hey, is that band ready to tour yet?" So so really, very grateful that people have responded positively to it, and we are finishing up the final mixes and little parts. I got 3 more things to record tomorrow. Some changes on a couple songs and such. And then Mike is really a great mixer, producer, fabulous guitar player and writer, and plus he's an incredible drummer too. So
Right. A man of different, all
I know
around.
So he's a real asset to the band, of course. And Toby just not only is a great singer, in my humble opinion, but just his lyrics and melody lines are just really brilliant. He'll come up just every time, the chorus is kind of the heartbeat of a song. That's
Right.
the thing everybody sings. That's where you usually find the title of the song in the chorus. And his chorus is this thing happens, you think, wow, that's a great chorus. Huh? That's not even the chorus yet. That's kind of a pre-chorus. Wait to hear the actual chorus and bang it. So it's really, really well put together. So that's pretty much the story of it. So now we're going to go out and do like a shakedown cruise, as old sailors might refer to it, and just go out and do this stuff live and see how it rolls. Little clubs, little places, no big deal. We'll be slugging it out, but I don't mind. I just want to play. I don't care if I play in a phone booth or a stadium. Either one is good for me. I've always
Absolutely.
always been that way. So we're gonna go out and do a bunch of shows end of March coming up, and playing near my hometown of Buffalo in Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls right next to it. So a lot of friends are writing to me. They're all coming out to the show and stuff. So it should be another great adventure.
Yeah,
I, I
absolutely.
I tell people I live to play live and I play live to live. So the live performance doing this is going to be great. And we did some live video uh, up in Toronto because when you hear somebody sing on a recording, there's a lot of things you can do to make it sound better than it might actually be, and that's
Right.
okay. That's legal. That's fair. It happens a lot. So I got to really work with Toby directly singing live, and man, he just nailed it. And so I'm really pleased with that. My God, there's a great drummer, Nick from Toronto, also. He's just a fantastic player. Something about Toronto, it was always kind of a hotbed
Right.
of great players. As I'm sure you know, many great bands from Canada and
Oh,
Toronto.
absolutely. I think that one band Rush, if you ever heard, I don't know what they're
Yeah,
doing these days, but
some little three-piece band.
yeah, right?
Yeah, they're great. But a lot of other bands, Kim Mitchell, I'm a big fan of his, and his band Max Webster, and just a lot of players. So, and Toronto's very close to Buffalo, so we used to play Toronto all the time.
Right.
There's a famous club called the Gasworks and Larry's Hideaway and Piccadilly Tube and the El Macambo. The Stones played at the El Macambo. So it was a great scene. So it's kind of nice that I'm back to those roots a little bit more now to
Right.
play for some Torontonians and an Australian too. This has been my first band experience with an Australian. I'll give you a full report.
Okay. And you kind of helped me transition into the next question there. You got 7 or 8 dates crisscrossing kind of that north swing there. So is it a little bit to get your sea legs ready before a bigger tour, or just to get a feel out for what the live music scene is for you guys at the moment? What's the deal there with these couple of dates coming up?
More to get a feel. I've been fortunate to have been extremely active for decades. So to get up on deck for me is like waking up in the morning. It's no problem. I just get up and do it. So I'm very thankful for that, to have had situations to lead up to that. So, but when you get a band and perform live, for me, that is the real band. Records are great and everything else is really cool, but what you're doing on stage, on deck for that hour and a half, 2 hours, that is really what the band is all about. Everything else can be, you may be really realistic in the studio and playing the real stuff and singing the real stuff. But it's still, some of it can be tweaked a bit.
Right.
So you're not. That's how many times you go out to see a band live and they go, it's not like it wasn't quite
Yeah,
what I
absolutely.
expected.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it happened. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. We just want to get out there and start playing live, even if it's not, because we don't have any kind of notoriety at all to go just book a big tour right
Right.
away. That thing comes slowly and step by step. So we just want to get on stage and perform, and this way you just get to know each other better.
Right.
Performing live, you got to watch each other. I watch the drums. I'm a drum watching guy. It's all about the drums for me. I watch him like a hawk. Every move he makes, I try to shadow or enhance or pull back so it shows more. But it's all about, when you see me live, a lot of times I'm over by the drummer, just watching him really close. So and this drummer is just a great player. I'm excited about doing that live. And then you got to hit your harmonies for real, because in the studio you generally do the harmonies separate. So you
Right.
got to get to that mic on your mark while you're playing, hit the note, remember the lyrics, and hit it all correctly. So just to see that stuff fall together really is the growth of the band from 0 to 100. Once you get it down live, it's all about that. That's why so many great bands that were great live bands and then recorded a record, Van Halen, uh, AC/DC, the Beatles. I mean, there's a lot of bands that played live forever, and then they finally
Right.
got up to the point where they recorded a record. And as a result, you had that live, I don't know, magic, if you will,
The
for lack of a
atmosphere
better
almost.
word. It captured on vinyl or now on digital. And for me, that's a really important thing, that live band situation. So that's why pretty much we're doing, just to make sure we get everything together. I'm certain that we will, but
Absolutely.
but it is a little bit of a process of feeling out. So I mean,
Gotcha.
you go to the gym and you hit the bag, and then when you get in the ring, the bag hits you back.
Right.
So,
That's the most important part.
wait a minute. So the real life versions of everything I prefer rather than the simulation. So we'll be doing it. This will be real life for us. I'm excited about it.
Got it. So while you're on the road, you're obviously going to be playing the EP, your new EP, Killswitch, and the new single, Footprints. So what other songs can fans expect? Because as you mentioned, you have an hour, hour and a half, and the EP's only a half hour, 45 minutes. What other songs or little nuggets, if you can give us a secret, what might be playing?
We we've got about 14 tracks
Wow.
ready to go. So we got a whole night of music. We have a couple of surprises that I'm not going to tell you yet,
Okay,
but
fair enough.
we might toss a few songs from some of our pasts in there, uh, and surprising ones too. So I think people will enjoy that. But I don't want to give it away now
Sure.
because we already know what's going. Now we don't have to buy a ticket.
No, 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 no. So, writing and collaborating with different musicians, as you mentioned, it's all different no matter who they are. So with this specific group, what was different about it? What made it so easy to have 14 songs in the can and ready to go?
I got to give credit to Mike because he is just brilliant at putting stuff together. We'll have an idea, sit around. What about this key? Okay, and then I'm going to change to blah blah blah. Next thing you know, it's recorded.
Right.
Okay, Toby, go in and sing to it, and bang, and he's really fast and it's really good. Uh, Being fast at something is always an asset to get done in time, but is it good? And Mike's sonically, he's just got great ears. And usually you have to rely on somebody outside the band for that, a producer or a mixer or an engineer to come in and do all that. And then there's a time it takes to get used to what your communication is, what you mean when you say, "Could I get a little less of that and more of that?" And it's not what happens. No, what I meant was, and you got to come up with a common language and a way to describe things. Where Mike is right in there already. I'll hear something and think, man, we should probably pull that down in volume a little bit to let that other thing sing through. And I don't even say it, and Mike already did it. So it's right to the point, quick. So his skills in the studio really have been an incredible asset to this whole project.
That's great. So it triggered a second question in my head. You ever hear the one bassist that has the producer switch on his bass guitar? I think his
Please,
name is.
Clark.
Yep, exactly. So when you're talking about it, that just immediately triggered that article that I read on him. So I wondered, do you have any tricks or ways to get around maybe a difficult producer, or are you very easygoing? Just we'll try everything and hope for the
Well,
best.
fortunately, I've been around a long, 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 long time. Probably since before your parents were born. But that's good because I played a million songs by a million bands and all kinds of styles. Our set list back in the '70s was all over the map. Robin Trower, Three Dog Night, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Beatles, of course, the Stones, Hendrix, Priest, Bowie, you name it. We played all kinds of stuff. And then once in a while, we'd make a left turn and do some unusual tracks, Bebop Deluxe or King Crimson or
Oh,
something.
wow.
So it gives you more of a vocabulary on this thing.
Right.
So if somebody's not happy with how you're treating how you're playing bass in a particular spot, I can dig deep in my bag of tricks and find some inspiration from all those great songs
Right.
that I was fortunate enough to be exposed to and perform live. That's why I say to a lot of players, now get in a band, play songs. And I see amazing bass players online now doing the impossible. So I'm
Mhm.
thinking, that's impossible. But they're not in a band and they're not playing, they're not performing. So maybe a different thing now. I'm an old man, so I got different set of criteria. But that's cool. But I think when you're in a band, you put all that stuff to work for real. I mean, it's great to see somebody do some fancy schmancy stuff to a point, but then I want to put on, a Beatles or Van Halen or AC/DC Back in Black or the Everly Brothers or something that is a song that is a framework for playing, not necessarily fancy over wild playing, but
Right.
just to play McCartney bass, James Jamerson bass in Motown. So if I'm doing a record or working on a part, I'm confident that I know several ways to approach that part,
Right.
from dead simple, big fat bass notes, just holding the whole thing together, to shadowing what's going on with the other instruments, locking in with the drums, and a million other approaches. So yeah, Lee's switch is a great idea, but I guess that would be my version of a way to deal with people, because you'll get people in the studio that just sometimes they can't be pleased. They
Right.
don't want to be pleased. They just want to continue this constant turmoil. So
Right.
you need something to knock them down. So if someone were to say to me, yeah, that I don't like the way that bass player goes. Oh, how about this one? I don't like that one either. How about this one? On and on and on and on until pretty soon I wear them down. It goes, okay, do that.
Got it. And it's funny that you mentioned Hendrix because I'm currently, or before we met, I was listening to my copy of Are You Experienced on vinyl, but it's very funny you mentioned him. So I
I
just wanted to
I
point that.
lived that I lived that record. I played that record probably 1,000 times when it first came out. And then the first show I ever saw in my life was Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, that's
Because of
awesome.
that record, we went to a Buffalo War Memorial Auditorium, and I was, geez, I was just barely in high school. I forgot the year, but yeah, and there he was with that band, the
That's
original
awesome.
band, and I had my little Kodak Instamatic camera with a flash cube,
Okay.
and security wasn't as crazy back then as it is now.
Right.
So I ran up to the front. I jumped from my seat, ran up to the front of the stage, and I was right underneath them. And you got 4 shots per flash cube, and I had
Okay.
2 flash cubes in my pocket. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I got home and I sent the film into Kodak, because then you had to mail it in. There
Right.
wasn't the
Right.
little places to go get it. And I got an apology letter back that they destroyed my film, and
Oh, wow.
here's a coupon for a free film.
Right. Thanks.
So years later, I knew people in Rochester that worked at Kodak, and they said, "No, somebody grabbed him, man. That's how it works all the time."
Wow.
And so I haven't seen any of them show up ever, but I've seen photos from that show, and I
Okay.
and I and I remember it well. But yeah, the Kodak people, when they used to process the film, they grab. That's why if you took any questionable photos, they're out there somewhere.
Okay. Fair.
Somebody's got them. And I remember when Ed Van Halen got married, a couple of people from Kodak said, "Hey, we got photos of Ed's marriage, of the wedding." And then, "Gee, how did you do that?" I can just keep my mouth shut. I don't want to see.
Right. So when it comes to collaborating and writing in general, you've truly done it with, the who's who, David Lee Roth, Steve Vai, the members of Mr. Big and the Winery Dogs. So what have you taken from all those sessions, tours, and music? What have you taken for all of that from all of those experiences into this newest project?
Well, in general, and of course it applies to this project, sometimes it can get contentious when you're, no, we should go into the chorus here. No, we should wait and do the thing. No, how about this? And that can be the seed planted of a lot of discontent later. Because later on, the guy that didn't want that thing in the song and ended up there, now the song went nowhere. You can say, see, we should have done the thing. Or the guy who said, let's do this, and then the song was a hit, and they say, see, I know everything. So one great lesson to learn for all musicians is sometimes just shut up and sit back. Let it go. Let it go. Proof of it is I have a huge iTunes collection of music, massive. It's on a 2 terabyte drive, and I'm going to have to switch it to a 4 or 5 terabyte drive because I'm out of room. And everything is the cover art and spelling and track names. Everything is perfect. So I really spent a lot of time on it, and I have, as a result, many old demos and live versions before it was recorded for real of Beatles, Robin Trower, all kinds of it. Genesis, Lamb Lies Down on Broadway rehearsals,
Oh
all
wow.
this stuff where you hear what the songs are like as they begin, and then you hear them later on when they're actually done. And to see the differences, sometimes they're subtle, sometimes they're massive. But either way, they probably would have worked. So if you are insistent that no, we got to turn around, there's got to be a big crash here, they can relax, let it go. And then I found an odd phenomenon happen, and it happened a lot. I don't know what's behind it, but if there's a thing that I really feel strongly about, I said, no, we can't. No, that's the wrong. Come on, let me, go 2 more measures before this happens, whatever. And I just say, you know what, get back. Then out of nowhere, someone goes, we should do 2 more measures before that. I say, oh yeah, I agree. So if I just let it go, sometimes somebody comes in, and generally I played with guys that are good song music guys that listen to great songs and great music. And so you get kind of an instinct and feel about how it's supposed to work. So
Right.
everybody generally is on the same table. But you can cause a lot of trouble later on in a band if you start getting insistent and pushy and PO'd about it should be this way or it should be that way.
Right. Of
Just take it down a notch and let nature take its course.
course.
That's what I've learned.
Well, that's awesome. So then, speaking of Mr. Big, just a little bit, there's 2 songs that I'm really curious about the collaboration process. They're 2 of my favorites. So, Green Tinted 60s Mind and What If We Were New. How did those 2 songs come to be? Because they're completely different ends of the spectrum in terms of your music.
What
2 of my
was the
favorites.
second song?
What If We Were New? Off the stories we could tell.
Oh, yeah. I'm not as familiar with that record because it's new. Uh, well, Green Tinted was Paul's song. He he's a huge Beach Boys fan. So since he was,
Really?
yeah. Now that's another thing. A lot of guys that you think are like total metal heads and they just listen to the death metal and pound their head against the wall all day long. I remember my first time going backstage with Van Halen, and Frank Sinatra was playing backstage.
Really?
Yeah. And same with Judas Priest. I'm not sure what Rob Halford used to listen to, but it wasn't like metal. And a lot of guys don't listen to the stuff that they play because they hear that all the time.
Right.
So myself, I listen to a broad spectrum of music, all kinds of stuff. Um, that most people, because people say, "Oh, you're gonna love this." I go, "No, hold on a second. You don't have any idea what I actually listen to."
Right.
So probably not, but I'll listen anyway. So Paul was a big Beach Boys and Beatles fan, and and as much as he comes from like Speed Demon Racer X, and as much as he's a blazing guitar player, he knows all these amazing chord structures and how they work and how they harmonize. And I've been a huge Beach Boys fan too. In my iTunes, I've got them in the studio working on "God Only Knows."
Wow.
Just a great song, and you hear him start. You hear him start the song, and they stop, and you hear the main Beach Boys guy. I forgot his name. Talk on the talkback to hell, can you? And that's Hal Blaine. He's talking to the famous drummer that played on all this stuff. Hell, can you just give me a big beat at the tim? Okay, and okay, we're rolling. And all that stuff that goes on, and you hear them build this track,
Right.
build it, and then the vocals come in, and oh my God, it's they really are one of the greatest bands and most musical bands ever.
And they're still great live. I saw them probably 2 or 3 years ago, and they are spectacular.
How great. How great.
They,
Now, a lot of metal guys and heavy rock people, oh, Beach Boys, what are you talking about? And that's why you gotta hold on before you dismiss something. Same with Sinatra. When I was a kid, my mom had Sinatra on the house all the time. I was like, Mom, come on, Frank Sinatra. I got a Hendrix record I want to play. Now, I look back and, man, that stuff was just amazing. To
right.
know the depth of knowledge and understanding and skill you have to do to make a record like that is mind blowing. So Paul dove into the deep end of that pool and still is swimming around in it as well. And he's forever learning and forever practicing. And he found some new thing, and he goes down rabbit holes on the internet to find things. So I'm not surprised, knowing all that, that's how it came up. And he brought it to us and played it. It was in a different key. It was way lower because the singer he used had a lower range. So we brought it in and got the harmonies in there. And for me, that song is really about those harmonies. It's really got
My
what you
mind
can.
exactly.
And we're lucky, Mr. Big, to have myself, Paul, and Pat Torpey. We all were kind of lead singers to a greater or lesser degree, me being the lesser. But nevertheless, we could hit. And I grew up playing, like I said, Three Dog Night and Crosby, Stills and Nash and all this harmony stuff. We played night after night after night after night. So I got really used to doing harmonies for stuff. So yeah, it was quite great of Paul to come up with that. And I apologize, I'm not as familiar with the other song you mentioned. We did that record kind of under duress
Okay.
because someone said they had a contract for us to do a record. We did not. And did we want to launch into a lawsuit?
Okay.
We thought, well, let's just do the record. So we did our best. We did our best to try and make a good record on just a microscopic budget and no
Mhm.
time.
Okay.
So give credit to all the members and our drummer Nick, who was drumming with us at that time to replace Pat after we lost him. He did a great job holding it together too. So I apologize, I don't know much about the other
No,
song.
no, not
It,
no worries at all.
it happens sometimes. You work on a song, you do it, and then you do another one the next day, and then the next week you're on another album project. So sometimes it's hard to remember. I apologize. Plus,
Right,
I'm an old guy and I forget shit. So
and it's funny you mentioned different music because Ozzy Osbourne talked about he hears "I Want to Hold Your Hand" and calls it the most perfect song he's ever heard, which is just
brilliant,
Black
brilliant.
Sabbath and the Beatles, two opposite ends of the spectrum,
Yeah,
and Paul and Ozzy are the best of friends, which is incredible. So,
yeah. That's a very important point, and that's why. And I know a lot of people that are like into really heavy metal or heavy prog, odd time signatures just all the time. So, you know, listen to the subtleties. Well, and you really learn a lot. I'm a big classical music aficionado. So my introduction to it originally was Mussorgsky and Bach and Beethoven, the stellar names.
right.
And especially from the Bach era, a lot of things were very rhythmic and put together, and the harmonies were exactly right, and it was amazing. But it was kind of stiff, if you will. I loved it, but it's kind of, when you listen to Bach harpsichord music, the well-tempered clavier is the name of the overall piece. It's three boxes, I think, of three albums each, six sides per box, 18, 18 sides in total
Wow.
of one guy on a harpsichord.
Wow.
And that's deep. And it's amazing to listen to all the brilliant things that he comes up with, and they almost never repeat. So I was used to that, and love stuff like that, and grandiose, big, full orchestra. And then somebody turned me on to Claude Debussy, was a
Okay.
French composer. Completely different, rhythmic, lilting, soft passages, harmonies that you could have never imagined. And so it's in the same way, if you're into metal and heavy stuff, going off and listen to something completely different or completely opposite, when you come back to metal, you're going to have a whole different point of view. And you're going to have note choices, which is all about a lot. Uh, they're all here. You can choose any one you want. but how you choose and what you choose has a lot to do with how that music has an impact. So coming back to, and I'm totally into AC/DC Back in Black. I have to probably admit it's probably my favorite record of all time. It's
Wow.
just a perfect record. Now I know I got a list too long to describe what my favorite records are, but it's just a perfect record. But going back to that, after listening to Sinatra or Debussy or the Everly Brothers, you hear it with different ears, and in some ways it can be really educational and inspirational that you
Right.
hear something completely different. Then to get back to your thing and be as heavy as you want, but now your heaviness has a little shine on it or a little extra thing that reaches people in a little different way. So it makes everything unique. So
Right.
I'll
So
I'll shut up.
one of one of my last questions here is what I think is so important to the younger generations of rock and roll fans out there. You're actually releasing your EP on CD, streaming, and vinyl. So why is it so important to have physical copies of your music still circulating among record stores and music stores?
Well, that's what people want. A lot of people have reverted back to vinyl.
Yeah.
I had a huge record collection, but when digital came out for me, on vinyl, I would always hear a click and a pop and a snap and a scratch and a little noise, a little surface noise from the vinyl. And we had all kinds of ways to fix that. We had these record cleaning kits, and we used to actually wash our records under lukewarm water and soap,
Oh, wow.
and gently, and take a super soft cloth and go along with the grain of the grooves, and just to keep them from being scratchy and crackly and dusty and all that. Then when and they had a click and pop machine. I forgot what company made it, but they had a click and pop machine that you put in between your turntable and your amp that would catch those clicks and turn them down. It would change the sound of the record a bit, but at least it wasn't clicky and poppy. And when
Right.
I'd get a record with a cool part on it, I'd be trying to learn it, and I'd take I'd play the thing, listen, and play it again. So all the good parts of my records had, hey, listen to this. Well, how come it's all scratchy? Yeah, I had tried to learn it. So when digital came out for me, it was glorious because it was no noise. I remember the first thing I played was Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. And it just starts out with a giant timpani hit out of nowhere. And I didn't know how loud it was going to be. I put it in. I was in my apartment in LA. I hit start, and all of a sudden, all the neighbors are, shut that thing down. But they got all pissed off at me. But just to hear that dynamic range and no noise at all. Yeah, digital might have a sound, but everything it's balanced out. There are advantages and disadvantages to everything. But a lot of people love the sound, the feel, hold it in your hand. And I grew up with albums reading the liner notes. We'd read them 1,000 times. Every time we put the record on, we'd read the liner notes again. Or if it's a double one, we'd open it up and check it out. And early Frank Zappa, he had these double albums you open up with a
Yeah.
book inside, all this crazy stuff. And it was part of the experience. So I think a lot of people miss that when you got a CD, you got a little small thing and a fold out thing, and then download, you're on your own. It's
Right.
probably you can Google it and find out if you want, but that's another step. But I think people are people, and they different tastes and different points of view and what they like. So they do like vinyl, and a lot of people that buy it don't even really play it. They just buy it as a way to kind of commemorate the man, to hold something in your hand that's
Right.
that's directly related to the band. So I'm never very much involved in marketing or business of the bands, but I do like the idea that there's vinyl now also.
Right.
Generally, I listen to almost everything digital off a hard drive for myself. I don't even have a CD player anymore, so I've moved on from that. People come to the case, hey, here's my CD. I go, great, I don't have anything to play it on, bro.
Not even
Give
in the
me,
cars anymore. There's no more CD
I
players.
know. It's funny. Send me an MP3. I can play it on my phone, no problem. So the convenience is amazing. When I come down here to my studio, sometimes I'll bring some people down, hang out, some friends, neighbors, and have a couple glasses of wine and start playing, going deep into the files of my iTunes. And it's a riot. I can just pop one in, pop one out, and
Right.
just hear some amazing stuff. So it makes it way more convenient for that. But and sonically, there's a difference. Some people are golden ear guys, we call them, that can hear if you change your guitar chord, they go, wait a minute, something's different.
Oh, wow.
I've been in front of an Ampeg SVT for half a century, so I can't hear the difference. I remember on the SVT there was a warning, one of the first warning signs on a product I ever saw. On the back of the Ampeg SVT was a big, heavy-duty, loud amplifier. They plug into a giant speaker cabinet, and it said, "Warning: Continued exposure to high sound pressure levels may result in irreversible loss of hearing acuity. They were right.
I guess after which the stats on those, I wonder what the label was on the Spinal Tap ones because theirs went to 11 obviously, so they went one range up. So I can only imagine there. But
Yeah, that's funny.
and going back to what you said on the physical media, I opened up one of my very first albums, which was Kiss Alive, and opening it up and seeing, them with the face paint and the fireworks. I was like, this is awesome. And it's one of
Oh
the
yeah.
original, it's just something about like again, holding the physical Jimi
Oh,
Hendrix
no kidding.
album and reading side two, Wind Cries Mary, Fire, Foxy Lady Our Experience. That's a greatest hits album or a side of
Oh,
one
oh,
essentially.
it's
And it's
amazing.
like his debut album, which is weird to hold something like that. And it's been around seven couple of years, 7 years. I'll be generous to Jimmy. 7, 8 years, maybe. He's a new guy. I don't know if anyone's really heard
Yeah.
of him, but
Yeah,
thank go. I'm sorry.
I just got a bootleg of Hendrix from the Electric Ladyland record prior to it of him with an acoustic guitar doing the Merman, the long elongated song Merman about well down and down and down and down and down and down we go. That particular piece, and he's playing the whole thing on acoustic guitar, mapping it out and
Oh
singing it
wow.
while he's playing it. I got it on a bootleg. It was pretty cool. And I just played on Peter Chris's record. So
Oh
I,
wow. That's awesome.
if you're a Kiss fan,
Absolutely.
he what a joy to work with him. He was the sweetest guy ever, and he his drumming skills are actually pretty amazing. He was more of a jazz player, so he's got this kind of
Right.
built into his thing. So I don't notice it because I'm not a drummer, but I work a lot. I have a production team with Ray Lugier, the drummer from Korn, and
Mhm.
my engineer Scott Bush, and so we work together a lot. So Ray didn't know I was working on Peter's record,
Mhm.
and I'm here in my studio and we're laying down tracks, and Ray comes over as we're in the middle of one, and we stop, and Ray heard it, but still didn't know who it was. And first thing he goes, "Is that Peter Chris?" And he recognized just from the way his feel was.
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool. I think it was pretty noteworthy that it's that identifiable that his
Right.
playing has a thing to it that another drummer would come in right away. Like for guitar players, I could always tell the difference between Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page. So a
Right.
lot of people couldn't. It was funny but yeah, he knew right away that was Peter Chris. So that's anyway an aside to your reference to Kiss there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's when you hear that first couple of songs on Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion, one where Steven Adler leaves and Matt Sorum takes over, that swinging kind of feel that was on Appetite is away. And at first I wasn't aware, but I kind of heard the change a little bit
Yeah,
because Civil War is the only one that he played on that appeared on those albums. And lo and behold, once you read into the band a little bit, you realize he got phased out a little bit and a new drummer takes over. And it really does change the whole feel of an
it
entire
does.
album
Exactly.
between,
That's why as we launch in this conversation, talking about band members, and so you see how when you work with a band on stage, you kind of adjust, even subconsciously sometimes, to what they're doing and how it all works, and the band sounds a certain way. Take one guy out and replace him, even with a better player or whatever, it's not the same, and
right.
it's never been the same for me. I remember Jethro Tull was a huge fan, and they started changing personnel after Benefit. I think it was their third record, and it was good, but it wasn't the same. Sometimes you get lucky though. Sadly, when AC/DC lost Bon Scott and they got Brian Johnson in there, completely different. But wow, and I tend to think I might be wrong on this, and I'll get crucified on the internet for it. But I think Bon wrote those lyrics for Back in Black and never got to sing them because the way those songs are put together, it's very Bon Scott,
Right.
very Bon Scott. And the later songs with Brian Johnson, great, but it's not the same.
Right. And I hate to be the bad guy. The Zoom, though, is going to cut out any minute now. So I don't want to cut it off. But Zoom, is going to kick us off with the 40 minutes. But, I really appreciate you sitting down and talking to us today.
Oh,
We
my
really
pleasure.
appreciate it. And we wish you all the best of luck on this tour. And I hope to talk AC/DC again very
Oh, I'd
soon
love
with
to.
you.
I'd love to, Michael. Thanks. You've been very kind, and it was a great
Absolutely.
interview. I enjoyed it. Be sure to send me a link so I can post it everywhere.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Billy. Have a great rest of your day.
You too, man. Take care.
Take care.